Fate, destiny, kismet. These words have shaped cultures, philosophies, and belief systems for thousands of years. But is fate real, or just a way we make sense of life's randomness? Some believe that every event, every decision is predetermined, that we are all following a script written long before we were born. Others argue that life is chaotic, a series of random events strung together by our own interpretations. But here's the real question. If fate is real, what does that mean for free will? Are we the architects of our own lives? Or are we merely characters in a story already written? Welcome to Parallel, a mix of storytelling and thought-provoking what-if scenarios, combining narrative fiction and analysis that includes real-world science, philosophy, and potential real-world implications. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment so that you do not miss out on the next episode. Because, one reality, says T-Boom, is never enough.
I keep thinking about it, how one tiny thing can change everything. I ran into an old friend from university last week. He told me this crazy story. That morning he couldn't find his keys, ran 10 minutes late, ending up missing his usual train. The train derailed. People died. He would have been sitting right there in the same spot he always sits in, and the weird part? He said he felt it. Like something was telling him, don't go yet. I don't know, man. Coincidence? Or fate?
The idea of fate is ancient. The Greeks believed in the Moirai, the three fates who wove the thread of life. The Norse had the Norns, weaving the destiny of men and gods alike. Many religions teach that a divine plan guides us all. But if everything is predetermined, where does choice come in? Philosophers like Baruch Spinoza argued that free will is an illusion, that everything we do is the result of prior causes we cannot control. Meanwhile, Jean-Paul Sartre and the existentialists insisted that life has no inherent meaning, only the meaning we give it. So, which is it? Are we bound by destiny, or are we free? If fate exists, science should be able to explain it. Right? Let's talk about determinism, the idea that every event is caused by a previous event. If you rewind the universe to the very beginning and press play, would everything unfold exactly the same way? Chaos theory suggests that tiny changes can have massive effects, often called the butterfly effect. A small action, like not being able to find your keys or saying hello to a stranger, could set off a chain of events that alters your entire future. If we could calculate every variable, would we see fate in action? There are some historical examples of fate at work. Firstly, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The date is June 28, 1914. A failed assassination attempt, and then the Archduke's driver accidentally takes a wrong turn. That wrong turn brings them right in front of another assassin, who seizes the opportunity. A moment of chance, or fate. That single event led to World War I, changing history forever. Secondly, the lucky coin flip that shaped Apple. In 1971, Nolan Bushnell, the founder of Atari, flipped a coin to decide which of two young engineers would get the company's next big project. The winner? Steve Jobs. Would Apple have ever been born if that coin had landed differently? Or was Jobs always meant to change the world? And thirdly, the Titanic's missed iceberg warning. The Titanic received several warnings about icebergs. One message never reached the bridge because the radio operator dismissed it as unimportant. Had that one message been delivered, would history have changed? Or was the ship destined to sink? There are a lot of people who trust in fate. Many successful people talk about trusting in fate, letting life unfold without forcing outcomes. Take Oprah Winfrey. She often speaks about how the worst moments of her life led to the greatest opportunities. If she hadn't been fired from her job as a news anchor, she never would have started on the path to becoming a media mogul. Then there's Steve Jobs' famous Connecting the Dots speech, where he talks about how seemingly random events, like dropping out of college, shaped his success. He believed you can only see fate in hindsight. Is this proof of fate? Or just people making sense of life's twists and turns? From a purely psychological perspective, humans appear to have a need for fate. Humans seek patterns. Our brains are wired to find meaning in randomness. That's why we see faces in clouds, why gamblers believe in lucky streaks, and why people look for signs in everyday life. Believing in fate gives us comfort. It makes hardships feel purposeful, like everything happens for a reason. But what if? That's just how our minds work. Even if fate isn't real, maybe the belief in it serves a purpose. Maybe it helps us cope, helps us push forward, helps us make sense of the chaos. Is fate real? Maybe, maybe not. But here's something to think about. Even if everything is predetermined, you still experience life as if you have choices. And maybe that's what really matters. Because whether you believe in fate or free will, whether you think life is scripted or entirely up to you, one thing is certain. You're here, right now, listening to this. And maybe, just maybe, this moment was always meant to happen. Thank you so much for listening into this episode of Parallel. The original idea for this episode came from my wonderful and beautiful wife. If you have an idea for a future episode, drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help the channel grow its audience. Until the next episode, remember, one reality is never enough.